In Luke chapter 1, verses 46 to 48, we read, "And Mary said, My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour. For he has looked on the humble estate of his servant. For behold, from now on all generations will call me blessed." The angel Gabriel told Mary she had found favour with God and would give birth to a son to reign forever on David's throne in Luke chapter 1, verses 30 and 33, which resulted in her singing this song of praise. Why did God choose Mary to be the mother of the Messiah? She had the right lineage, which Luke traces through David, Boaz, Judah, Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. Her son would be qualified to bear the title Son of David and be the righteous branch that was to come from David's family. Isaiah 11 and verse 1. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. In Micah chapter 5 and verse 2, it was foretold that the birthplace of the Messiah would be Bethlehem in Judah, a place the man Mary was engaged to would have to go to be counted when the census was announced. This would place them in the small town of Bethlehem when it was time for the Messiah to be born. Mary was a virgin, which was critical in order to fulfill the prophecy found in Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14, where it says the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel. Matthew reminded his readers of that prophecy, which was crucial in verifying Jesus' identity in Matthew chapter 1 and verse 23. She could not be married, or the world would assume Jesus had an earthly father. She could not have a bad reputation, or no one would have believed her story about a virgin birth, not even her own family. And Mary was from Nazareth. Prophecies given hundreds of years before Jesus' birth stated that the Messiah would be of little reputation. We find this in places like Isaiah chapter 53, Zechariah 9 and verse 9, and we can compare these with Matthew chapter 2 and verse 23. To be called a Nazarene or a Galilean was something of an insult in those days. This was a place of little or bad reputation. Look at John chapter 1 and verse 46 and see how it's treated there. Had Mary been wealthy, socially prestigious, or from an affluent city, Jesus could not have easily connected with the lowly people, as he did in Luke 19 and verse 10 and in Mark chapter 2 and verse 17. But because he was from Nazareth, Mary's hometown, the humble state prophesied about him was fulfilled. Mary was just someone God used for his purpose. She was not chosen because she was more holy than other people. The angel calling her highly favoured and blessed in Luke chapter 1 and verse 28 is a reference to the uniqueness of her task, not to any virtue she had attained. Mary was a godly woman, but emphasis was on her privilege, not her piety. She had found favour with God, but that says more about God's goodness in choosing someone as lowly as her, rather than her own humble state. Like Mary, we have also found favour with God in that he sent his Son to save us from our sin. She was the recipient of God's grace, just as we are, his undeserved favour. When we accept Christ's sacrifice, we are recipients of God's grace, and Mary gives us an example of total devotion to the Lord. In her answer to the angel Gabriel, she said, "I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said," in Luke 1 verse 38. May we have the wisdom and the grace to answer God's call to save us in the same humble way.